Gwrach y Rhibyn. This is a story about a witch who could create mist and fog. Once upon a time, there was a little witch who was not very good at being a witch. And all the other witches would laugh at her, and they'd say things to her like, "Your voice is so shrill. You're not very good at anything. You can't make potions and spells. No one would ever be scared of you." And the little witch, she tried her best. She tried not to cry. She knew that witches were not supposed to cry. So she did that thing where she pushed all the tears down inside her and she didn't let them come out. And she really tried to learn how to make spells and potions, but she wasn't very good at it. And she knew that no one was ever really going to be scared of her. And one day, it all got a bit too much for the little witch. All the other witches had been laughing at her all day long, and so she ran away from them. She ran up to the top of a mountain and she sat there and she looked down at the land around her, and all those tears that she'd been pushing down and down and down, they did that thing when you really want to cry, and the tears came up, 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 and then she opened her mouth and she howled. She cried, she screamed, she wailed. In fact, she made a truly terrible sound. You can imagine what kind of sound she made. But not just that. As the little witch screamed and cried and wailed, something really odd started to happen. Out of her eyes, her nose, her mouth, her ears came pouring mist. Thick, grey tendrils of mist that weaved their way through the air and formed into fog and then rolled down from the top of the mountain down into the valley below, into all the houses of the people. And the people found they could not see anything because the fog was so thick, and all they could hear was the sound of the little witch on the mountain screaming and wailing and crying. And their hearts beat fast and their legs began to shake, and they had never been more scared in their lives. And on the mountain, the little witch, she stopped crying, but she kept on wailing. She was having such a good time. And from then onwards, that little witch was known as the scariest witch in the whole of Wales. People called her Gwrach y Rhibyn. They say that she haunts the lonely roads in the middle of the night, and she makes mist roll out over the land so that no one can see anything, and then all you can hear is the sound of her wailing and screaming and crying, and it makes the hair on the back of your necks stand up. Have you ever been out in thick mist before? What would you do if you met Gwrach y Rhibyn?